Welcome to the presentation on the flow of control. The order in which statements are executed is called the flow of control. Most of the time, a running program starts at the first programming statement, moves down one statement at a time until the program is complete. A Java application begins with the first line of the main method and proceeds step by step until it gets to the end of the main method. Invoking a method changes the flow of control. Unless specified otherwise, the order of statement execution through a method is linear, one statement after the other in sequence. Some programming statements modify the order, allowing us to decide whether or not to execute a particular statement, or to perform a statement over and over repeatedly. These decisions are based on a Boolean expression, also known as a condition, that evaluates to true or false. The order of statement execution is called the flow of control. Conditional statements. A conditional statement lets us choose which statement will be executed next. Therefore, they are sometimes referred to as selection statements. Conditional statements give us the power to make basic decisions. Some conditional statements in Java include the if statement and the if-else statement. Those of you who are a little bit more familiar with programming might know of another selection statement called a switch statement. The switch statement is not a part of the AP subset and is not covered in this course, so we will not be using the switch statement in any of our labs. The if statement. The if statement is a conditional statement found in many programming languages, including Java. An if statement may consist of the reserved word if, followed by a Boolean expression or condition, followed by a statement. The condition is enclosed in parentheses and must be either true or false. If the condition is true, the statement is executed, and processing continues with the next statement. If the condition is false, the statement is skipped, and processing continues immediately with the next statement. The if statement has the following syntax. If condition statement. If is a reserved word in Java. The condition must be a Boolean expression. It must evaluate to either true or false. And then the statement. If the condition is true, the statement is executed. If it is false, the statement is skipped. The statement is always the single coded line underneath the if statement. If there are more than one line, then the second, third, and fourth line do not or are not associated with the if statement unless they're enclosed in curly braces. Here's an example of an if statement. If sum is greater than max, then we'll subtract max from sum and we'll assign it to delta. If sum is not greater than max, then we will skip the assignment statement here. Either way, we are going to print out the sum is plus the sum. So first, the condition is evaluated. The value of sum is either greater than the value of max or it is not. If the condition is true, the assignment statement is executed. If it is not, the assignment statement is skipped. But either way, the call to the print line method is executed next. Let's look at an example. This example reads the age of the user and decides which sentence to print based on the age that is entered. The age program echoes the age value that is entered in all cases. If the age is less than the value of the constant minor, the statement about youth is printed. If the age is equal to or greater than the value of minor, the print line statement is skipped. In either case, the final sentence about age being a state of mind is printed. The logic of an if statement, for those of you who are visual learners, we have the condition to be evaluated. If the condition is true, then we execute the statement and we continue on. If the condition is false, we skip the statement and we continue on. Boolean expressions A condition often uses one of Java's equality operators or relational operators, which all return Boolean results. So two equal signs together means equal to. Remember that a single equal sign is the assignment operator, but two equal signs means that we're evaluating equality. Not equal is the exclamation point and the equal sign. Less than and greater than are similar to what you see in your math class, and then less than or equal to is the less than sign followed immediately by an equal sign, and then greater than or equal to is the greater than sign followed immediately by the equal sign. Don't put a space in between those two operators. Note the difference between the equality operator and the assignment operator because they do two totally different things. The if-else statement. Sometimes you want to do one thing if an if condition is true and something else if that condition is false. We can add an else clause to an if statement, making it an if-else statement to handle this kind of situation. An else clause can be added to an if statement to make the if-else statement. This is what the if-else would look like. So if condition is true, then we would execute statement 1. If the condition evaluates to false, we would execute statement number 2. So it's one or the other. It is never, ever both. So if the condition is true, statement 1 is executed. If the condition is false, statement 2 is executed. One or the other will be executed, and again, not both. And for those of you who are the visual learners, here is a graphic to show you how this works. So we've got the condition to be evaluated. If it evaluates to true, then we act on statement 1 and move on. If it evaluates to false, we will execute statement 2 and then continue on with the rest of the program. Let's take a look at another example in Java. The wages program uses an if-else statement to compute the payment for employees. If an employee works over 40 hours in a week, the payment amount includes the overtime hours. An if-else statement is used to determine whether the number of hours entered by the user is greater than 40. If it is, the extra hours are paid at a rate of 1.5 times the normal rate. If there is no overtime hours, the total payment is based simply on the number of hours worked and the standard rate. Block statements. So I told you that the line directly underneath the if condition or the else clause is the line that's going to be acted upon, okay? The single line. But we might want to do more than one thing if the condition is true, or more than one thing if the condition is false. In that case, we need to use what's known as block statements. Several statements can be grouped together into a block statement. A block statement is delimited by braces. A block statement can be used wherever a statement is called for by the Java syntax. For example, in an if-else statement, the if portion or the else portion or both could be block statements. Let's take a look at an example. The guessing program uses an if-else statement with the statement of the else clause being a block statement. It means there's two lines right there. If the guess doesn't match, two statements are printed. One that says the guess is wrong and one that prints the actual answer. If we didn't use the block braces, the curly braces are on the two statements, the sentence stating that the guess is incorrect would be printed if the guess was wrong. But the sentence revealing the correct answer would be printed in all cases. That is, only the first statement would be considered part of the else clause. Nested if statements. The statement executed as a result of an if statement or an else clause could be another if statement. These are called nested if statements, and I can 100% guarantee you will have nested if statements on the AP test. An else clause is matched to the last unmatched if, no matter what the indentation implies. Indentation is style. It's for you and me, the human readers. Okay, so Blue Jay and Java don't care about the indentation. Braces can be used to specify the if statement to which an else clause belongs. look at an example. This is the min of 3 program, and it uses nested if statements to find the smallest of 3 integer values entered by the user. Please pause the video if you need a little bit more time to step through the code. Now that we've looked at some ifs and we've talked about the else clause, now it's time to see if you can evaluate if statements and if else statements. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.